Today I got my good friend Maryl Elliott, and we're going to discuss who knows what. There's no telling where this discussion will go. It's going to be great. I always enjoy talking with her. So, let me ask you this. Is it hot or what?
It's hot.
Is it like 90 degrees or 92?
I haven't looked today, but it's
Did
hot.
you look when? High 80s or 90. It's hot. I'm glad, aren't you? You
I
like
like something.
you like hot weather better than cold?
Yes.
I can't stand the cold. I freeze. I like it about 92. That's when I get feeling better. I think it makes my bones feel looser. You know, some people as get older, they like the houses like keep them 80 degrees.
Yeah.
It's
And
just,
some people keep them about 65, which freezes me.
yeah. And when I sleep, I put my air on 61.
I don't go quite that low.
I like to really freeze it.
You must like a lot of blankets.
Yeah, I have a lot of. I like heavy blankets.
Yeah.
I can't sleep with just a sheet or something.
No.
I got to be something heavy.
Whenever you read a story in the newspaper or see something on television about somebody getting arrested, you naturally assume they're guilty. Unless the story's about you or someone you love, then you'll think differently. And you'll want a lawyer who will defend you. My name's Scott Canavis. If you or someone you love has been charged with a crime, call me. I'll return your phone calls, I'll work on your case, and I will defend you.
Hey, I was going to ask you, let's go through I got these sugar packets for the Mayfield. I want you to tell me the lineage. Do you know the lineages of
Pretty much.
let's start out
Is that
with.
from Mayfield Dairy or something?
No, Mayfield, the Mayfield family.
Yeah, I know pretty much.
So,
And let me tell you why I do. Because my grandmother, I used to go with her to the graveyard. She would take flowers to my grandfather's grave. And she would take me with her. I was a little girl. And I used to love to go, and I would be turning cartwheels and jumping around and jumping over the gravestones. And she would start telling me about there's a Mayfield plot in the cemetery.
which
And then-
cemetery?
End of Worth Street, is it?
So Fort Hill? Or,
It's Fort Hill. And I don't know how many are up there, but a lot. But she would tell me the history. And I discovered not too long ago that my sister didn't know any of that. And I think it was because I used to go with my grandmother, and she would tell me. She'd say, now this was Aunt so-and-so, and this was, so on and so forth, and tell me how they died.
So you're a direct relation to the Mayfields, or not?
I was a Mayfield.
So Bess Neal.
Okay,
Bess Neal, let's say she's here,
all right.
and she was married to
Pearson.
Mayfield,
And
who got shot.
No, her dad got shot.
Okay, her dad was
PB.
PB.
I'll start back.
Okay.
Was a law firm, and it was Mayfield and Sons, and it was my great-grandfather and his sons, and there were 4 of them. I'm pretty sure 4. 2 died fairly young. 1 in a horse and buggy accident, and this is in like the 1800s, and 1 I think he had TB. But then 2 were left, and it was. My great-grandfather had 8 children. 5 were boys, and 4 of them went into the law business. But the 2 that were left were my grandfather and his brother, PB. And it was PB who was murdered.
By Mr. Bell.
By Dr. Bell.
Dr. Bell.
Yes. And everybody in Cleveland knew that Dr. Bell was crazy. and he was being sued or maybe threatened jail because he had shot somebody. So PB, who was my great
Now he had. I've heard part of that story. He hit a guy that worked for him in the head with with a lead bucket, according to Alan Jones. He told me the whole story.
I don't know that.
And
did he also shoot somebody?
Well, he evidently flipped his lid.
Oh, he was nuts.
Nuts, and hit a guy that was working for him that was milking a cow with a lead bucket. And so they got him out and he was getting ready to go to trial, and he evidently went to the courthouse. He was doing the tax things where they paid him for I guess for suing people over not paying taxes. And so he walks into the courthouse and shoots the clerk in the arm and says, "I want my money now." And with the arm that wasn't shot, they wrote him a check.
I don't know all this.
And then he just lights his pipe and goes over to his office, which was above.
My great uncle's office.
Yeah, he went into the
above the
office,
bank.
and PB's wife said, "Don't go over there. He's crazy." And he said,
Well, what she said was, "Don't represent him." PB was his attorney, and he was representing him after he shot somebody. Mm-hmm. And his wife said, "Don't represent him.
Yeah.
He's crazy." Mm-hmm. And my great uncle PB said, "He wouldn't hurt me. I'm helping him." Mm-hmm. But he did it. He walked in and shot him dead in his office. And it was just, it would be like if somebody walked in and shot Jimmy Logan or somebody. Mm-hmm. The whole town knew the person, and PB Mayfield had been, Mayfield School was named after our family, and people knew him and loved him. He was on the city commission, it was called then, not council, and other things, many things. So the whole town came out for the funeral and lined the streets when the hearse went by and all that. That was Bess and Pearson's father. My father and my mother were both only children, so I don't have an aunt or an uncle or a first cousin, but I do have my dad's first cousins were Bess Neal and Pearson and others. Mm-hmm. So that was the connection and so then Pearson and my dad were Mayfield and Mayfield.
Boy, it's complicated, isn't it?
Well, not really to me.
So did that law firm just go defunct after the death?
After the murder?
Yeah.
Oh, heavens no. My father and Pearson Mayfield were in that law firm until the 80s, maybe? No.
So when according to Alan, when Mr. Bell shot him was like 1836. Is that right, or 1930?
No.
1936.
Yeah. And my father and his cousin Pearson ran the law firm for almost another 50 years. So no, it didn't go defunct then.
So it was what was the name of it?
Mayfield and Mayfield.
What is it now? Is it evolved into something else?
No, it just closed after my dad was gone. It closed. Pearson died first, and then my dad.
So nobody where was his office at?
Above what used to be the Cleveland National Bank.
Okay.
Is it Regions now?
Yeah, it used to be. Regions. It's one of those banks nobody goes into no more because they bought them out. Why these banks? Why they buy out a bank and then close the doors? Have you ever figured that out?
I have not.
It's bizarre.
My youngest son works in banking, and he is certified in fraud and money laundering. And he works from home, and he's much in demand because there's more fraud all the time.
I guess it's all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah. I said to him one time, "How often do you discover fraud or money laundering?" And he said, "Oh, every day. Every day. Many times a day." but he works from home.
Wonder
But
what-
my dad and Pearson, that you asked about,
Yeah.
were in law school at Harvard. They both went to Harvard Law School, and that's where they were when PB was shot, Pearson's father. So they had to come home, and of course, big funeral. And then my dad went back and finished, and Pearson stayed home for a year with his mother to help her get everything settled. Then he went back and finished, and then they continued the law firm.
But now, they sent Mr. Bell to some kind of a
Crazy house.
Crazy
and
house.
He lived to be, I think, about 90 years old. He lived for years. I don't know how old he was when it happened, but let's say in his 30s. He lived probably at least another 50 years.
and then they buried him in Polk County.
I don't know anything about that. I do remember hearing when he died.
That's a story people don't know about.
That's true, except people that are interested in
Yeah.
very old Tennessee
Yeah.
history, or Cleveland history.
Alan said he was standing on the street corner smoking a pipe when the police came down, the ambulance came down the road to attend to him, and then they came back.
Alan was?
No,
No.
Alan said he knows the story evidently.
Well, Alan wasn't
Indeed.
standing on there. I
No,
wouldn't
no,
even-
he said that Mr. Bell was.
Oh,
just
he was
standing
standing there when
he
they
said he
came by.
watched them come down the road and go upstairs, and then they came back down and arrested him.
I never heard
He was
that.
just standing there smoking a pipe,
I hadn't heard that. But he was crazy for sure.
evidently.
Yeah.
That's before they knew how to treat people, I guess, with
Yeah.
mental illness.
Well, they knew he was crazy, and he had shot somebody, but he deserved a trial, and so my great uncle was going to represent him, even though his wife said don't.
Now, Bess Niels,
It's her dad.
her dad, and her daughter Margot married Max Everhart.
Max Everhart, right.
Boy, we're all probably related here in Cleveland. Aren't we?
Really, I'm not related to anybody except Margot and her sister Ann.
What are you to them? Cousins?
We're second cousins, I guess, because her mother and my dad were first cousins. And I told you I don't have a first cousin because my parents were only children. So I'm really not related to many people in Cleveland at all.
Now, your sister, she was married to
James Torrance,
James Torrance.
right. He passed away about a year ago.
Yeah. Has it been?
Well, I think
Seems
it
like
was
maybe-
last summer, so maybe the end of
Yeah.
the summer.
Yeah. Boy, it's strange how all this stuff is so intertwined, isn't it?
Well, a lot of it is, but like I said, I'm really not related to that many people. And my husband wasn't related to anybody in Cleveland, but
Where was he from?
he was from Cleveland. His daddy was mayor of Cleveland when they adopted him. And he was adopted from Chattanooga, but it turned out on his birth certificate he was born in Florida.
Did he ever find his parents?
He didn't want to. He
Didn't
didn't want to.
Didn't know the reason? He never knew
He
the
just
reason?
said, I love my adoptive parents, and my biological parents gave me up for whatever reason. They had their reasons, and they gave me up, and I don't need to know why. And he loved his parents, so. But I'll tell you a funny story. My youngest son wanted to do DNA on his daddy, and my husband, I called him Johnny. Johnny said, whatever, sure. And so he swabbed his cheek, and he sent it off. And I said, now you know, since you don't know anything about your biological parents, anything could come back. And he goes, I don't care. And he said, do you to me? And I said, no, I don't care. So Michael sent it off. We knew that my family was English, Scottish, and Irish. So when Johnny's came back, Michael said, now we know. Dad's is English, Scottish, and Irish. So now we know Mom and Dad are cousins.
Could have been.
And he said, and that's what's wrong with us. But no, he never wanted to find out. But he didn't have any relatives because his father had a brother that never had children. His mother had some relatives in Louisiana that he never really saw. So
I would want to know, I think.
I don't know. I understood his reasons.
Whatever they are, you
Yeah.
got to respect the reasons, I
Yeah.
guess.
And we did know someone that did find out, and they were so sorry they found out because it was a family down in Georgia. The father had been in prison, and once this girl, found her biological parents, they started trying to get money from her. So it was really, she was sorry that she'd found it out. And so he just always said they had reasons, and that was okay. They didn't try to find me, I'm not gonna try to find them.
You ever wondered how many people don't know that isn't their biological father? You know, there's probably a lot more of that than we realize.
You think? You mean people that are adopted?
Yeah, or just didn't know that.
I don't know.
You know,
Well, back then, they didn't tell you like they do now. I mean, now there's special books like The Chosen Child, and they tell the child right away that they're adopted. But back then, they didn't. He didn't know. He found
they
out.
waited till they're 16 or 18 or something.
And actually, they didn't ever tell him. He found it out. He found an old scrapbook that had a picture that had been in the banner of Mayor and Mrs. Elliott adopt a baby boy. He was 3 months old, and they're holding him in the picture, and his daddy was mayor. And he didn't know he was adopted till he saw that picture. It really upset him. He was about 10. And
Yeah,
it upset him that they hadn't told him. Mm-hmm. And his mother said, I just never found the right time.
I can understand that too. Mm-hmm. It's funny how I had a guy here last week that I knew his dad, and his dad died when he was 16 months old. So me and a friend of mine had been searching for him, so we did an episode looking for him. We found him, and we had him last week, and it was astonishing how he walked like that guy.
Really?
And just, I don't think I was trying to see anything, but he really did have a lot of traits.
You had them both here together?
No, I had the dad's died, but I had the boy here. We found him, Brandon McDonald.
So you had known the father?
I had known the father in grammar school.
Oh my!
And another friend of mine had run around with him in high school or after high school, and so we were one of the few that remembered him because he was just 20 years old when he died. So we just got to thinking, wonder whatever happened to him. Then we found out he might have had a son, and so we searched and found him. He lives in Chattanooga.
You could be a detective.
I could have been a detective. I like mysteries. Do you?
Yes. Yes.
What kind?
True crime. I read some true crime.
Don't watch the TV shows, just read them mostly?
No, I just mostly read. Speaking of reading, that's what got me through COVID. My husband died. We'd been married 55 years, and he died in January, and COVID hit 6 weeks later. But what got me through it partly was the library, because I could go online. I love to read, and I could go online and find a book, and then I would, text the library or email and say what book I wanted, put it on hold. Then they'd call. I would drive to the library with my mask on. Someone from the library would come out to the car with a mask on and with a plastic bag with a book. Mm-hmm. So I spent months reading because I could get books at the library because it was closed. But somebody was there working, and they would bring a book out to you.
You know, the library is something I don't go to anymore. And
I go twice a week.
To the new one, not the archives across the street.
Right, no, the new one. It's wonderful. Mm. It's really.
They got a coffee shop in there,
but they'll if they don't have what you want, they'll get it. You just request it.
You wonder if libraries will go out of.
I don't know. I do wonder that.
You can rent videos and CDs
and most everybody. I'm in 2 book clubs right now, and in the winter I'm in 3. Because in the winter, January to April, I'm in one at UTC. And the rest of the time, I'm in 2 that meet once a month. And so I read constantly. But most everybody in my book clubs reads on their Kindles now. They don't even go get books. I still go get books. I mean, I live a block and a half from the library.
I got to fill the page or something.
I do too. I do too. I may change my mind, but I haven't yet.
Now, Why wouldn't you just go buy the book? Because they're $40 or $50?
That's why I wouldn't. And I live a block and a half from the library. Why would I not go there? And if they don't have what I'm looking for, they'll get it. There's a bookmobile that comes through that if they don't have it, they can get it from them.
Do they have pretty much anything, or is it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, why buy it when you can just rent it, right?
Well, that's why I don't buy them. Plus, I've got shelves and shelves of books that I don't really read them twice, so, you know, I'll pass one to somebody if they want it. But
I'm reading one right now about Arizona. It's called All the Way Down to Crazy is the name of the book. It's really good. This guy moved to, he was from England. He moved to Arizona. Then he ended up in Mississippi. Then he ended up in Birmingham, Alabama. Sold everything he had and moved back to Arizona. But the book, it sort of reads weird because he's in Arizona, but then he's remembering these other towns he was in, and so you have to start. Oh, he's talking about when he was back there, and you have to keep your mind. That sort of bothers me a little bit because I never know if he's talking about being in Arizona or there. So I'm almost going to have to read it again, but.
so does it have a crime involved?
No, it's I'm about midway through, but his thing is that Arizona and the Nevada and those areas, that they're sort of the Wild West, and they take everything to extremes, whether it be the Indians fighting, the Texan borders, and everything goes to the extremes. And even right now, he's talking about the Phoenix and the Maricopa County and how that even went to an extreme, and how they were against Trump in Phoenix, but not in the outskirts, and how that goes to.
So it's real current.
He went from way back, and now he's current. But he's talking about there's certain places in Arizona that the IRS wouldn't go in. I mean, it's the drug dealers and drug lords, and I mean, still that way.
Wild West.
Because there's no electricity or nothing, and they that's where they store a lot of the stuff. But I think what he's getting to is they're even going all the way down to crazy is referring to the aquifers. They're just taking all the water out of the ground, and they're even taking that to an extreme. But he talks about how they take things to extreme, but they're still able to survive and bounce back from it. Sort of a human nature thing.
There are a million books that I read you'd love.
I enjoy it. What do you when you read? Do you turn on the radio, or do you turn on the music or anything? Nothing.
No, just read.
Drink coffee.
No, not really. May have my dog beside me.
Do you like a full two hours? You're not going to be disturbed to read. I mean, I don't like to read for 15 minutes.
I don't seem to have it. I've said yes to too many things, so I don't seem to have it except at night. I'll read at night.
I turn on this YouTube thing that's got slow jazz to a bookstore, and it has faint noises of people in the background that you can't.
Really?
It's like an ambiance of like you're in there. It's really good.
No, I enjoy quiet and when I read and living where I do. I live downtown, and I tell people to be downtown in the old historic neighborhood is like being out in the country after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Any traffic's gone. There are people walking, there are people strolling babies, walking dogs. It's just quiet, and I love that.
You ever hear the katydids?
Oh yeah.
See, my grandmother. See, I was raised part-time on Harl Avenue, Harl and Willow.
And you know who knew you?
Who?
A good friend of mine said you had Siamese cats.
She had Siamese cats.
Well, she thought it was you.
No, she did. My grandmother had Siamese cats.
Okay, well,
She worshipped
this friend of
him.
mine got her first Siamese cat from your grandmother.
Oh, is that
but
right?
She thought it was from you, and she remembered you.
It could have been.
Yeah.
She had 2 Siamese cats that she worshipped. And she had a dog named Lady and a dog named Cisco.
Now, did your grandmother raise you?
I was there a lot,
Yeah.
you know. They had that little building out back. That was my workshop. I built my first house in the park, in the driveway. But,
Now, is your brother Bo?
yeah.
And he may be the age of my oldest son.
How old is he, your son?
55?
Yeah, probably.
56.
Yeah, 56, 57.
They may have been in the same
yeah,
class.
Yeah.
I think they might have been.
But I remember that dog. I loved that dog. Cisco was full-blooded Chihuahua, and it loved me, man, wherever I did or whatever. And I went in one day, and she said he had a heart attack and died. And I never really knew the whole story behind that. I always loved Chihuahuas since then, you know, because all they do is bark. They don't give a lot of trouble or nothing, you know.
Yeah.
You have cats?
1 cat, 1 dog. Have always had 1 cat and 1 dog. My husband said he didn't like cats. And I said, you don't know cats. Mm-hmm. That's why you don't like them, because you
Right.
don't know them and you think they're sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but I have to have a cat. And he agreed I could have a cat. And so I've always had a dog and a cat. One time we had a cat that had kittens. We kept one of the kittens. And then they both had kittens together the next summer, the mother
Mm-hmm.
and her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a driveway full of cats. But that's when I had little kids.
Cats are so funny, aren't they? I mean, they've
They're-
got their own personality.
They're smart. I love dogs, but cats are smarter.
Cats are a lot smarter. I got 2 out there. I got one I named Jim Price. Remember the photographer?
Yes.
His name's Jim Price. He eats like Jim, because Jim would sit over his food like this. And
Are they here on this property?
Yeah. I just had to let them out before you came in, because they act like they're starving. You know, they trick you into thinking they hadn't eaten all day. They just finished an hour ago. I put ice in their water, the whole thing.
Do they stay outside all the time?
Yeah, they won't come inside. A tip will come inside if it's real cold. That's his chair. And if it's real cold. But Jim Price, you can't even hardly pet him. He just runs. But he's the only. Now Tip looks like a little scared cat, but it's not. It's run off every cat that's been here except for Jim Price.
That's funny.
He lets him do whatever he wants to. I don't understand it. He'll run off every cat that's ever come around here except that one. And he'll let him eat his food. I don't understand what the reasoning is.
I thought you were going to ask me today about teaching. Did you even know I was a teacher?
Now, when was you a teacher?
Well, my first teaching job was people don't remember it, but there was a Cleveland day school. Do you remember it?
I know George and Mac McCorn went there.
Okay, it later became the Baptist Family Life before they built the big church.
Stevens Road.
Was it Stevens
I think
Road?
it's
I'm
Stevens
not
Road.
sure. Anyway, I taught there for the first 2 years when I was out of college. And then I started having boys and stayed home with 3 boys for 20 years, I guess. And then I went back and taught at Cleveland State. I always taught math.
Math.
Yeah.
What kind of math?
Well, at Cleveland State, it was remedial math. And at Cleveland Day School, it was 3rd and 4th grade math and science. They changed classes, even in the 3rd and 4th grade, just once. They'd have math and science in the morning and, social studies and English and writing in the afternoon, or vice versa. And so I just had them for math and science. It was a great little school. But what happened to it was, at the time that it was started, and my parents were involved in starting it along with probably 30 families, because the education level in Cleveland was not that high. The classes were too crowded. There'd be 25 kids in a class with a teacher and no aide. And so this set of parents felt like that kids weren't getting what they needed to go on to college in Cleveland at the elementary schools. So they started this school. My class in the 3rd grade, I think I had 8 kids. In the 4th grade, I might have had 11. So I had a microscope for every child in the 3rd and 4th grade for science. So I think Cleveland saw what could be done with money, and somehow they improved the education system in Cleveland so much so that the day school really wasn't needed, because the schools in Cleveland got so much better, and the class size got smaller. And
So at the time the Cleveland Day School came out, it was pretty bad then.
In Cleveland,
for the elementary.
well, I went all through elementary school in Cleveland, and I thought it was wonderful. But at that time, when it was started, and I taught there in '66, so at that time, and it had started a few years before that, but at that time, the schools were just so crowded. The teachers couldn't teach. They were just, there were too many kids in each class. So it wasn't anybody's fault. But these parents saw what could happen if they could put some money into a school and, hire really good teachers and have small classes, and it worked. But then the education level in the city schools came way, way up, and the day school wasn't really needed anymore.
I remember at Cleveland Junior High, some of the kids from the Cleveland Day School, they didn't go to North Lee or Stewart. They came from the Cleveland Day School.
Yeah.
So it was still going then.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you're...
77, 78 probably?
Yes.
76?
Yes. I'm trying to think I can't remember now when my sister would have finished.
How many students can a teacher teach? I mean...
Well, I don't know. It depends on the teacher and
or the age, I guess.
Yeah.
And maybe the subjects.
And discipline level and, But I never had a discipline problem because there were just so few kids, And...
So you were a teacher how many years total?
12. 2 years there, stayed home for 20 until my youngest started high school. Then I taught 10 years out at Cleveland State.
Why'd you decide to go back into teaching?
Well, my oldest 2 were gone to college, and my youngest had started high school, and he didn't need me much. And I just thought I loved teaching. But I did want to be a stay-at-home mom when I could.
So the 2 years wasn't enough to get burned out with it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
What's there to like about teaching?
Oh, gosh. Well, you got to love kids to really love teaching, I think. And I had not taken any courses in education. I had not studied to be a teacher. I just studied, I majored in math. Didn't think I was going to teach. I don't know what I thought I was going to do.
Yeah, what would you do with the math major?
I had heard that you could be an actuary for an insurance company. Didn't really even know what that meant. But if anybody asked me, I'd say, well, I'm going to be an actuary for an insurance company. Then I got married, and I'm in Cleveland, and nobody in Cleveland needed an actuary, and I didn't know what that was anyway. Yeah. But they needed a teacher at the day school.
Well,
and so
is math your strong suit? Even algebra?
Oh, yeah.
Chemistry?
Yeah, but mostly math. And my two of my oldest 3 boys majored in math, but they're both lawyers. So they're not using their math except for reasoning, the reasoning ability.
You think math education gives you a reasoning abilities?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, I think that's the best thing it gives you.
What about algebra?
Oh, I think it's important. And when I taught at at Cleveland State, of course I heard, when am I ever going to use this? And I'd say, you use it every day, whether you realize it or not. No matter what your field is, you're going to use it. And you already use it every day. You just may not realize it. Of course, it's hard to make people understand why they need algebra. The A's and the B's and the C's and the letters and the equations. It's hard to make them understand it. But still, if you can think through a problem, you can solve a lot of things if you can think through.
I always thought algebra was just trying to get both things equal.
It is.
That's basically the whole. How can you get them equal?
That's it.
Add, subtract, divide, whatever. Make these things equal.
That is it.
I think that's a lot of reasoning.
It
with
is.
how can I make this deal work? Well, they gave a little bit here and they gave a little bit here. That's sort of algebra, isn't it?
Sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah. Yeah. But to see a child's eyes light up when they get something, my favorite thing at Cleveland State was the girls I had that were going to be nurses, wanted to be nurses. And maybe they'd finished high school but had started having a family. Then they came back to school, and they'd been out of school 10 years, 15 years, and they were so afraid of the math. They were so afraid they couldn't do it, and they had to have it to be a nurse. And so they would say, I just never was good at math. And I said, well, we're going to get you through it, and you're going to see the point of it, and you're going to do fine. Just take it one chapter at a time. And, and I helped them. And then it would be like a light bulb. They'd say, well, I understand that now. I never understood that before.
Yeah, understanding math is different than just being able to work the problem.
Right.
They
maybe could get the right answer, but they needed to know why.
Yeah.
I mean, they maybe didn't want to know why, but it helped them to if they could see why. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. And they've got to be able to say, oh yeah. But that was what was worthwhile about teaching, was, you don't get to every student. You still got some that are in the dark.
Or can some people just not get math at just no
Some
level?
people have a hard time with it. But then again, I've seen a lot of people that thought they couldn't that do finally understand it. Maybe it's a process starting in first grade. You build on what you've learned.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they had a bad year, I hate to say a bad teacher, but if they had maybe a teacher that doesn't love math and she concentrated on social studies.
Yeah, because she likes social.
Because she liked that. And maybe they missed something somewhere along that process. So when they get to algebra, they've missed something somewhere, and it's hard for them.
That's an argument for changing classes and going to the math teacher versus a teacher that's going to teach you all the subjects and she don't even know math herself. She's going to gloss over that section.
That's one of the premises of that day school. They changed classes even in the lower grades. I mean, like I said, when I taught third grade, that was the lowest grade they had. But then they added, after I left, they added second and they added first. And they added all the way up to senior. So one year it was first through 12th. But when I was there, it was third through maybe 10th. But then they added. But that was one point of it, was if I had to teach every subject, I would have spent too much time on math and not enough on social studies. And so that was a real argument for changing classes.
You think AI will ever start? They'll just ever have an AI in the room? That's the big argument now, isn't it?
No, I don't know.
I don't know how that could ever work, do you? Remember the SRAs? You remember SRAs? That's what we had. We had the packets that you go through the packet, and if you passed, you went to another packet, and everybody raced to get the packets.
Never had that, although that's a little bit of what I taught at Cleveland State. You didn't have packets, but you had chapters, and they went to I didn't test them, but they went to a testing center. They could finish this section.
Went to that booth, like a voting booth.
Then they went, well, it was actually, at Cleveland State, it was a testing center. And they went there, and if they passed it, they went on. So I guess you could call that kind of like a packet. But they studied on their own. I was just there to help them, really. And when we started a new chapter, I would go over it on the board, but they kind of worked at their own pace. But like I said, it was remedial. And I will say this, I don't want to say anything against our counties around Cleveland, but I got students that needed remedial math. I got very few from Cleveland or even from Bradley High, but I got a lot from Polk and Meigs and McMinn. So that made me think our education system in Cleveland was pretty good, because they did not need remedial. They had gotten what they needed in high school.
Cleveland, Bradley County has always been big on education. You can tell about that by the way they argue about it so much. It's on people's minds.
Yeah.
I just never did like school. I just couldn't. I just didn't.
But you're a learner. You're learning all the time.
Yeah, but I just never was a take the test, homework. I hated homework. You know.
Well, most kids probably do.
What's your earliest memory of Cleveland?
Oh, goodness.
What would be the first thing you remember? The very first thing.
I remember the house I live in is the house I grew up in. But do you know it's the oldest house in Cleveland?
I didn't know that. What year?
There were 1836. There were older houses. It wasn't the first house. There were older houses, but it's the last one for sure anybody's living in.
That was a few years before the
Civil War.
The Civil War.
Definitely. Now my family.
1836, you say?
Yes, my family didn't build it, but they bought it in 1867. They came from South Carolina after the war, and bought it. But
Who'd they buy it from?
they bought it from Thomas Callaway, who owned a lot of property in downtown Cleveland, so we're not sure that he ever lived in it.
Well, didn't he build the house that Rott was in? You familiar with Rott?
Yes, I am, and he may have. If he
I
didn't,
think they were
if he didn't build it, he had. Well, he wasn't involved in the copper mine, which is what Rott did.
But I think he was involved in the bank
In the bank.
In the bank.
Yeah. But he owned quite a bit of property, and so he did own that house when my family bought it, but I don't know that he lived in it.
So your family bought it what year?
1867. My kids are the 6th generation of my family to live in that house.
Well, that's something, isn't it?
I think it is. I think it's really something.
You know, people that move from where they raise their kids, it's got to be I'll tell you a story.
Well, most do. Most do. I mean, I'm an exception for sure.
Well, let me tell you this story. I built a house. I live in a small house, and I built a brand new house, and we, pretty nice house, and so we were backing out of the driveway, and my youngest said, "Why are we leaving?" And I said, "Well, bigger house." He said, "Yeah, but why are we leaving?" I couldn't answer him. I moved in that house, stayed 21 days, changed the carpet, and moved back in.
Back to the
And
old
sold
house.
that house. I think I lost $3,000 or $4,000. I just could not stand it. Because where I would...
Because it wasn't home.
Well, it wasn't home. There's a difference, isn't there, between a house and a home?
Oh, yeah.
So living there has got to be something. I mean, that's...
Oh, I grew up playing.
You're knocking on 200 years.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it was fun to see my children play hide and seek and hide where I had hidden.
Well, yeah, right.
When I was little. But my grandparents lived there, and they built the house next door. If you're facing my house, it's on the right. They built a little house next door for my parents when they got married in 1939. So I lived over there with my parents until about 48 when we swapped houses. And I do remember that. I was 4 years old, and I remember that vividly because it was my mother and daddy and me and my sister in the little house. It did have 4 bedrooms, but it just had 1 bath. My grandfather had died, so my grandmother was by herself in the big house with 4 bathrooms. And so we swapped houses. And so she always was next door to me. And so then I lived there with my parents from the time I was 4 years old.
Did it have an ample kitchen? Was it built with an ample
My
kitchen?
house?
No, the one you live in now.
Probably today people would not think so because people put in bigger kitchens with islands and all that. It's ample for me. It's pretty big.
But I mean, it's got some drawbacks, right? I mean, like the because some of those older houses would have like even the kitchens layouts. The big tubs and the bathrooms had the small vanities and stuff. But see, I like that rather than the modern
I haven't
stuff.
renovated much. We did take a wall out and then my mother and daddy built a new house, and my husband and I moved in there in 1970. So So I grew up there, then I got married and lived away, and then I came back in 1970 when they built a house. But I have only renovated, I tore a wall out between the kitchen and the den. And then 20 years ago, we added a great big room in the back. It had a 3-car garage way back when. And it had other buildings, we called it the outbuildings, that stored, they had dirt floors. But they were big, and you could put lawnmowers and bicycles and things like that, but you didn't. I always dreaded when my mother sent me out there to find something because crickets are jumping in there.
Snakes and stuff.
Well, I never saw a snake in there, but it was, it was a dirt floor. So
Yeah.
But it started sagging. It started leaning like pizza. And so we tore it down and put back a 2-car garage instead of a 3 and put a great big room in the back, which looks out on the backyard, which goes all the way back to Spring Street. So I wish I'd done that a long time ago. But now it's too much house for me, but I'm staying there for,
You know, I almost can't stand all the changes going on in Cleveland right now. Can you?
The apartments going up.
I just can't get my arms around it.
I feel the
it
same
just
way.
almost turns my stomach. I just can't almost look at it. 'Cause
Well-
number one, I think, well, I should be building it. Number two, why are they building it? It just doesn't. I can't figure it out.
Well, people ask me all the time, because I'm still on the planning
Are you
commission.
still on it?
Oh, yeah. And they want to know, why is Cleveland growing so fast when our streets can't handle it? And I don't have the answer, but it's not like the city can tell builders, you can't build anymore. If they can find property to build on, and they're zoned for what they want to put there, then they can build. And apparently, if you build it, they will come, because
I think that's the thing.
they're not having any trouble filling up all these apartments that are going up. It's unbelievable to me to look at going out past Cleveland State toward Target, those apartments up there. It's unbelievable.
That was the first one that was daunting to me, sitting way above.
I agree.
And if you remember, we approved that during '09 when nobody was building nothing.
Right.
I remember David May saying, we got to have something going. And maybe he was right, because,
Well, that kind of snowballed, didn't it?
yeah. I'm so glad I'm off that planning commission. I got to where I just can't get on board with high density. I just can't get on board with it. Just everything's so close. I guess I'm a little claustrophobic too, but I mean, I just can't get on board with that. And they'll buy these lots in downtown Cleveland, and they'll fill the whole thing up. Can't even park a car. I mean, how's that practical? Oh, it's more square footage.
No, I agree with you, but they want progress, and they think progress equals building more apartments, bringing more people in.
But if you take that to the nth degree, you say, "Whew, finally, we're as big as Nashville." If you take that.
I know. I don't think anybody wants that.
But that's progress, right?
I agree, but you gotta. That's why we have planning. I'm not saying that the planning is always sufficient, but we need to plan in advance, maybe a little more than we do.
It blows you really have to have somebody smarter than me to figure all that out, because it's over my head.
For sure. Like right now, they're doing PUDs.
Yeah, I'm not a fan
I'm not
of that.
really a fan of that. That's just putting too many people in too small a space.
See, PUDs, my understanding was PUDs were originally for 10 acres or more. And 10 acres, sure, you can't be just one thing on 10 acres. That doesn't make sense. But to be different things on 1 acre, that starts getting. And all these parking lots now, if you go to Staples, if you go to Starbucks, I bet you drive through 4 ownerships before you get to the coffee shop. I'm used to this is lot, standalone.
Well, I think the older we are, and you're not old, but the older we are, the less we want all that conglomeration in one place. We want to be more spread out. Of course, the people mostly that are getting these apartments are very young people, and that's what they can afford. When they, a young couple, no kids yet, they're going to probably start in an apartment. But
I don't know. I think that what everybody's building is not what the future people are going to want.
well,
That's what I think.
I agree. As they get older and go, advance in their jobs and make a little more money, of course they're going to want.
Well, you take even back in the, early 90s, Lenox Hills, that was the
It was
4,000, 3,000, 5,500 square foot houses, huge. Everybody had to have 3,500 square feet. And I don't know, you could not develop lots right now and sell houses, enough lots to make it for the big house. Now they
I don't
want,
know. In some of the these restricted neighborhoods.
name one that's coming on that's
That's starting now.
yeah, that's 3,500 square, 2,500
I don't
or
know
above.
now. Because I don't even know all those neighborhoods out. I don't even know what's the road if you go, okay.
I've lost count. I guess
I don't
Freewell
know.
Road. Freewell Road, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, all those neighborhoods off of Freewell
Yeah.
Road. Most of them are restricted and have pretty big lots.
But most of those came on board in 2006, 2012 to 18.
Yeah.
And maybe was even, before 08, there was a lot of subdivisions that were already kind of on the drawing boards, and they got stalled off, and then they came to fruition in 2016 and 17. And now they're all going to these, just a townhouse where it costs them $1,400 a month. They're going to get tired of the neighbors being that close.
I think so.
What happens if somebody goes up in the attic, cuts a hole through there, and comes down on the other side? That's going to happen. It's going to happen.
You mean comes down into your property?
It's going to happen.
Well, what do you mean?
Because
to
all
rob you?
it's up there is sheetrock. They just cut through with a box cutter.
To rob you? Is that what you're
Well,
talking about?
rob you or look in your bathroom.
Oh,
It'll happen, and nobody will want them no more. It'll be that simple. It'll be like a bug in the Shoney's.
I don't see that happening really. But I do see people wanting more, not to want a neighbor whose wall, you share the wall.
Right. Or let's say this. Let's say you have a 4-unit apartment building. You own this one, and I own this one, and Gwen owns that one, and somebody else owns this one. Well, let's say you get a hailstorm. You got State Farm, he's got Farm Bureau, I got auto owners. He'll replace the roof. They'll just do the back half of yours. They'll do the front half of mine, and his nephew's a roofer. You got chaos. So if you go to these big cities, you have to record a maintenance agreement with that. Here's how we'll handle that. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a problem.
But I think they are starting to handle that. It's starting to address that problem, don't you?
Well, it would slow down the sales because that makes people think, I'd just rather have a little house on a little lot. At least I know that's my tomato plant, and I'll mow it.
Well, I agree, and I would feel that way in the first place. I wouldn't want to be one of 4 units hooked together.
Yeah, or 20.
But some people, that's what they can afford when they start out, and to them that looks wonderful. It's their first place,
They're setting up housekeeping, as they used to call it in the old days.
And they'll get tired of it. The one next door is going to play their music too loud. Mm-hmm. Or they're going to have an argument over the garbage can that sits out.
It'll be that simple.
Exactly, and then they're going to start looking for a place by themselves.
With a small lot.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of happening in downtown Cleveland. More and more houses are being bought down there in the historic neighborhood that are, small houses that people have been at. Either they've had a great big house and they want to downsize.
Did you know that the average size of a house since recording. You know how many square foot it is, because sometimes they get larger, 1,600 square feet
Really?
is the average that they
That sounds
are.
tiny to me.
Well, 1,600 square feet gets 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a dining room, a kitchen, a family room, and a hall.
You talking about these new ones they're building?
No, I'm saying that's the standard. 1,650 square feet is how many square feet you need to get all that stuff in. Now, if you take out the dining room,
Which most people don't use anymore.
you're down to 1,450 square feet. So 3,500 square feet, at $200 a foot, that's another, what, 300,000? The new generation would rather go up to Ball River Falls and take some nice pictures with their money, and not, we were, my generation was taught to work and get a big house. That was success. But I think the new generation is thinking freedom is success. And freedom is not being strapped with a $2,000, $2,500 house payment for 30 years.
Right.
But do you think going through the cemetery with your grandmother, do you ever do that sometime? And sometimes I can go to a cemetery, like I was up at Fort Hill a few weeks ago, and I just pulled in under a tree and I started making my phone calls. It's quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Shaded. They got some really nice trees there. And I just sit there and finish my coffee, and I was making some phone calls. The police pulled up. Say, "What are you doing?" I thought, "What can I say? I'm here making phone calls." But there's something about an old cemetery that I think, what would they tell me to do? What would this
All
grave?
those people in the graves.
Yeah, would they say, worry about this one or let this one go?
Yeah.
You ever think about that?
Not really in that way, but no. But I do think the cemetery is a very quiet, peaceful place. But you'll love this. My visits to the cemetery in the last 10 years, maybe 2 or 3 times, where we live in the middle of downtown, we have possums. Everybody does. Don't see them often, but I have a trap. And so if I see one, I'll put the trap out. In the morning, if there's a possum in there, I've taken them to that graveyard. And my husband, the first time I did it, was with me, and he said, "This is crazy. Why are you taking it here?" And I said, "They're not going to bother anybody here." And he said, "They're going to come back." And I said, "They've got about 7 streets to cross to get back where." And I said, "They're not real smart, and they can't see real well, and I don't think they'll get back that far." But they may. Who knows? He told me I should spray paint something on their, like a letter on their backs to see if they came back, but I never did. But that's what I go to the graveyard for now, is to let my possums go.
I got one here that.
A possum?
Yeah,
What are the cat? Well, if you're
They don't bother him.
But if you're feeding those cats outside, that's why you've got a possum.
Well, the possums love cat food,
Oh, yes, they do.
and I got a raccoon that comes about
Right.
dusk, and they don't bother him at all. I call him Sam. Sam will come and he don't bother them, and he just eats and
He eats their food.
He eats their
As long as
food.
you feed those cats outside, you're going to have.
But they don't. Raccoons don't bother you. Every now and then, if one
No.
gets in the attic, I'll call Burns.
Right, I do
John,
too.
and he'll come out.
do
Well,
too.
it's getting expensive, isn't it?
Well, I hadn't had him in a while, but the last time he came, I thought I had a possum that had gotten maybe into the basement, because there's an old coal chute, believe it or not, where they used to put coal in, and it's got a metal cover closed, but I thought it had kind of gone under there. I wasn't sure, so I got him to come. He put out 2 traps. You know what he arms them with?
What?
Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms.
He said that's the best thing. So I'm trying to get a possum. Next morning I go out, I've got a raccoon in each cage. And I called him and I said, "I didn't even know I had raccoons." He said, "Oh, everybody's got raccoons."
Everybody's got raccoons.
But this was the sad thing. I said, "What do you do?" Because I'm an animal lover.
Oh, I do that too.
I said, "What do you do with them?" And he said, "By law, you have to kill the possums. I mean, the raccoons." You have to kill the raccoons.
I asked him the same thing.
And he said it's a law because they can carry rabies. And I said, well, what do you do with the possums? He said, oh, I take them to my farm because my wife loves them. I said, she loves them? And he said, well, she loves them because they eat ticks, and we've got grandchildren. And possums aren't going to bother anybody. Possums are...
I made him assure me he wasn't going to kill them.
The raccoon?
The raccoons, yeah.
Well, I wonder. I bet he did.
I don't know.
He just told me it was a law.
He told me it was a law. I'm sure he goes by the law.
No, but I'd never heard it before that. But yes, they can.
They wash their food before they eat.
I know.
They'll put it in the
Do you
cat
watch
bowl.
them? Do you
Oh,
watch
yeah,
them?
they'll wash it in the cat.
Oh, is it dry cat food?
Yeah, they always wash it before they eat.
How close will they let you get to them?
Oh, I can film it. I've got films. Me to you. Just sit there and eat like they eat like this.
Oh.
I don't think they carry raccoon. I believe that's a myth. I don't believe they carry
Well,
rabies.
you know they have found rabies in them, or they wouldn't say that they have.
I don't remember how, always growing up, they said you're going to get lockjaw. Remember that?
Right,
Did you ever know
right.
anybody with lockjaw?
No, but I know that a raccoon can carry, well, maybe it wasn't rabies, but if you see one in the daytime, do you ever see these in the middle of the day?
No, it's usually around dusk.
Dusk. If you see them in the day, they say they're probably sick. And there was one over on Oak Street that when I'd walk my dog, I'd see it, and it would just it looked sick. And I didn't call, but somebody else that lived near there called and they did come and get it. And it was sick.
I can't stand people that hurt animals.
No, I can't either. I
I
can't.
just cannot. And I eat meat, which I shouldn't, but
Well, I didn't think you did. You used to be.
I used to be. I was vegetarian for about 15 years, but
I thought you were.
it about killed me.
Why? You got anemic?
I know. It just took all my energy. I was that way for 15 years.
I knew you were. Because
And-
we had the
Oh, we
meeting.
always had the lunch. I always brought
We
vegetarian.
had planning commission
Yeah.
lunches, and you always had special lunch.
But about 3 or 4 years ago, I ride bicycles and I ride with these guys, and they were riding better than me, and I thought, how can they be riding better than me? You know? And so I thought, well, I'll start eating meat. And man, I perked up just like that.
Really?
Yeah, you just have to have meat. So I guess.
Well, my daughter-in-law would argue with you, although she was a vegan, but she is eating chicken and fish now.
It's vegetarian. They
Whatever.
call it vegetarian.
She's not eating meat.
I found this out. You have to have red meat.
You think?
You gotta have it. It's just a whole world.
I don't have much.
It's a whole world of thinking. I mean, it's a whole different feeling. So
And 15 years you were without it.
15 years I was without it. No bacon. Well, first time I ate bacon, like they put me in a coma. You don't realize how bad bacon is for you. But
I
you have
do,
to
I
have.
do.
But you have to have red meat. I mean, not just chicken. I mean, red cow. I think there's something to it, or at least there is for me. And it's not in my mind. It's real. But I still don't want to kill animals. I'll try to get the humane, best you can, and all that stuff.
I'm sure if I ever
Yeah.
went to a slaughterhouse, I'd never eat meat again, but I can't think about that.
Oh, I read the book.
What was that book?
Fast Food Nation. I read that book. Boy, if you read that book, you'll quit eating.
So that made you the vegetarian?
That started it, yep.
Yeah.
Because, that
So
started
now you just eat a steak and don't think about where it came from?
Yeah, don't think about it, because I have to live too. It's part of the chain, But yeah, but Fast Food Nation did make me realize the different ways you can do stuff more humane. And go to Polk County and get the eggs from that guy up there. I get some of those eggs from that.
Mennonite?
No, there's a place up there behind the courthouse. They got the refrigerator. You just open the door and put $3 or $4 in there, and they
Really?
get a thing of eggs. Or you can go down here towards McDonald on South McDonald Road, and they got a self-serve thing. You just go in there, get what you want, and just put the money in the jar. It's the craziest thing.
And so it's somebody that's got chickens
They
right
got
there?
chickens right there, and they got tomatoes, and they got corn, and the early, late, they got early lettuce and early and lettuce late, and then
So do you
towards
go to the farmer's market?
yeah, I just get tomatoes there. But you got to watch them too. They'll bring them down there from Meigs County, and they've got that crunchy. You know, they're not the real home. If you want homegrown tomatoes, you got to go to McMinn.
And what happened to the McMinn cantaloupes that we used to get?
I was wondering the same thing. I went over here to the. Oh man, I can smell them, can't you? I went down here to the farmer's thing, and I got me. And I thought, and I had my whole mind set on that cantaloupe, and it was rotten inside. It wasn't like the McMinn lopes they used to call them.
I know,
right?
and I haven't seen one of those in
I haven't seen
3 or
them.
4 years.
And it's a whole different level.
Right. What did somebody tell me? They thought they'd farmed the dirt out. I mean, till they just couldn't really.
I remember they used to bring them to Cook's Food Store, and they'd put them on the front thing, and A.J. Lawson and Conrad Day, and you know, it was just, you just picked up one of them like you did toilet paper. You know, give me a cantaloupe.
You are an old soul to be so young.
I am. Alan Jones says I know more than I'm older than he is. But I like homegrown tomatoes. I love homegrown tomatoes. But I used to go to the Old Fort and take a cantaloupe with me, and Pam would cut it up, and I'd put it on my biscuits. And with a little honey, what's good? Do you think that that some of those old people, like who are the prominent people that were really businessmen when you were? Where'd you go to college?
I went to UTC.
So in your 20s, what were the names of the people that were the big guys in Cleveland?
Gosh. Oh. I don't know. Well, of course, there were stampers. There was Clark Stamper for stampers, and then there were. I knew a lot of the lawyers because my dad was a lawyer. Of course, the Rhymers with Magic Chef, the Browns with Brown Stove, then the other Browns that had Hardwick Stove, not related to the Browns of Brown Stove. And my husband, out of college, went to work for Hardwick Stove, so I knew stove people. Who else?
Would those guys make it in today's world? Would they figure out a way to make it, or would they not make it?
I think they'd make it. I think they were smart. You'd be surprised way back then how much education there was in Cleveland. You know, people sent their kids off to colleges in the Northeast. I mean, there were
finishing schools?
No, colleges. Well, like my dad went to Harvard Law School.
Yeah. How many people here in Cleveland go to Harvard Law School now?
I hadn't heard of anybody, but my dad and his cousin did. But I'm saying they went to really good schools, and then they came back. So some of those men that ran those companies were very educated, and I'm sure they had learned how to operate factories.
And they were driven.
Yeah.
They had to be, right?
Yeah.
So would you think they would figure out a way to make it today?
Yeah, I think they would.
They'd figure out a way.
Smart. I think they were really smart. And because they couldn't have built those companies like they did if they hadn't. Of course, then they sold out. All of them. Brown hadn't sold out, but Hardwick did, and Magic Chef, which was Dixie Foundry, did. To bigger. Maybe the next generation just didn't want to run it, and so they sell it.
But those guys that made it, they would have figured it. They'd have had the smartphone. They'd have had the computers. They'd have had their email address. They'd have Venmo and PayPal. They'd have figured it out, right?
I think they would have. I think they were very smart.
Those people made America, didn't they?
I think so.
They said that the people that were born in 1929, that era, or 1920, that group of people made America, because they were young when they went through the Depression. By the time they were 20, they had to go to war or needed to go to war or sign up for the war. then they had their kids and they sent them to Vietnam. Mm-hmm. Then when they got old enough to retire, they were worried about Social Security. Those people are about 95 today.
Mm-hmm. If they're still around.
And you talk about a rough life. They weren't even teenagers in the 50s.
Right.
They were already, their kids were going to the soda shops. They were working second shift, third
Which
shift.
makes it seem like some of us have had it too easy because we miss that. I mean,
Right.
My generation was too old for World War II, really too old for Vietnam. Mm-hmm. And, but most of the guys that I know that went to high school with have done very well, but they didn't have hardships like the ones you're talking about.
I wonder if those, you take the people that were born in 1880, they didn't really have the hardships like the ones that were born in the 1920s.
Probably not. Speaking of 1880s, my grandmother was born in 1888, came to Cleveland. She actually graduated from Purdue in about 1908. Before most women thought about going to college, she graduated from college and came to Cleveland to teach at Centenary Women's College, which
was Lee College now, right?
And I've got annuals that you would love to look at that are from the 1910s and 12s and right in there, and it was a wonderful school. They studied Latin, they had drama.
Was that a finishing school, what they call them?
I
guess that's what, because it was just a women's college, right?
Mm-hmm. Women's, and so she came to teach there, and met my grandfather, and got married and stayed in Cleveland. He was from Cleveland, but
Wonder what their meeting was like. Where they go,
I don't know, but if you look at the pictures in that annual, all the dresses are long. They had their hair up on their head, pinned up.
Was it Church of God then?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm. So
back then at the Centenary Girls College, that would have been a dirt road. They would have been. The Model T hadn't even come out yet, right?
No.
I mean, it was horse and buggy.
Yes. Have you read the book that Louise Harrell?
I've been meaning to read that.
You need to read that. You would love it. You would love it.
Now it's her diary, correct?
Kind of, yeah. It's just her thoughts on things. There's a lot about her family, and I didn't really know her family, so of course I'm more interested in anything. But one thing that's in there about my grandfather, that's funny, and this is before he knew my grandmother. So she called him a gay blade, which would have been young man about town before gay had a different meaning.
Yeah.
But and this was interesting, they were having a dance at the Cherokee Hotel. Now, this is in about 1910. And the men were in tails and top hats. This is in that book. And so the young men, I guess a lot of people from town were down there at the dance, but a lot of the young men were. So my grandfather, who went by Charlie Mayfield, was at the dance. The depot was where it used to be down there. Mm-hmm. They had a horse and buggy that when trains came in, and I was always surprised reading this that trains came in late at night, but apparently a train came in about midnight. And the horse and buggy would take the people that were going to the hotel, to Cherokee Hotel. So here comes the horse and buggy with people for the hotel, and I guess the porter carried their luggage in. Mm-hmm. My grandfather comes out of the hotel with a friend of his named Kate, and I don't know which Kate it was. It might have been Jim Kate's father. Mm-hmm. But they said that Kate lived farther down on Ocoee. And my grandfather lived in the house I live in right now because he still lived at home with his mom because he wasn't married. They had drinks. They come out, they see the horse and buggy sitting there. They decide instead of walking home, they're going to take that horse and buggy. So they do. And my grandfather drove it, and he took his friend Kate home up on Ocoee somewhere, and then he came back to the house I live in and just left the horse out on the street. and went to bed, and the horse went back to the depot.
That's what they say. They say the horses will go back where they're being fed.
It went back to the depot.
Almost like a Tesla car. It goes back to where,
Oh, do they?
yeah. Was
But
that,
you would like some of the stories in there.
and what's the name of that book?
I remember.
I remember. Did she know she was writing that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, did she know she was writing it that we would read it, that she'd
I
publish it?
hoped so.
Or did somebody just find it and she published it? Or they published
I think she maybe published it, but Candy Scoggins, do you know Candy?
it? Yeah, Steve's wife.
Steve's
is that right?
wife.
Yeah.
She was really instrumental in compiling all of it and putting and re-releasing it into it's almost like a magazine type, coffee table type book now with a soft cover. And you can get one. You should.
Yeah, I'm gonna
You
get
would
one of
like
those.
you would like some of the stories.
I got a 19-something city directory in there. Right when the telephones came out, it listed all their phone numbers
I still
and the
remember
order.
mine.
Yeah,
481.
481.
And my grandmother's was next door, and hers was 1771J, and she was on a party line, and she lived next door. And so if I was at her house and I wanted to use the phone and I picked it up, somebody might be talking on there.
Like on Petticoat Junction.
And my grandmother, we called her Pitty. She's the one that taught at Centenary College. Her name was Prudence. And her friends called her Pretty. And I called her Pitty because I was the first grandchild. So I'd say, Pitty, why are you on this party line? She said, well, it's a little bit cheaper. I said, but if you want to use the phone, sometimes people are on there talking. And you have to say, excuse me, and hang up and wait till they're through. But
How far did Cleveland go at this around 1910? Did it go just to the railroad track and then down to the
I don't
Taylor
know.
Spring?
When was the Rott House built? It was before 1910, and it's across the track.
Have you read the Rott book?
Huh?
I've got the book. I got a signed copy from the guy that wrote it.
Yeah.
Boy, if you don't know about
No,
Rott,
but Cleveland went way on up. I think. Well, Charleston was there. Charleston was there, so the road went.
but
to
Charleston was really sort of a different town.
Yeah, but the road went up there.
You know, they said that the towns then were like 12 miles apart because that's how long the stagecoach, the horses went before they needed water.
Really?
That's why you got Cleveland, Charleston, Calhoun, Riceville, Naoda.
I never
They're
thought
about
of
12
that.
foot apart, or
Never
12 miles apart.
Never thought of that.
But that's something you can't get is the stagecoach routes. I've tried to find maps of that, and you can't get a stagecoach route.
Huh?
Because that was, they had routes, specific routes. When I
Are
built
you sure they had stagecoaches here? I think of
well, the
stagecoach.
stagecoach stopped.
I think stagecoaches out in the Old West.
But the stagecoaches had stops, and that's where they usually started the town. Like here, they went to Taylor Spring because they could water the horses, so that's where the stagecoach stopped.
Oh.
And so, it'd be like Gunsmoke, I guess. But I just wonder how those they didn't even have indoor plumbing then, did they? They had outhouses till. When would they have had?
I don't know. My house didn't have heat; it just had fireplaces. There's still 5 fireplaces in my house.
Does it have a bath? Did it have a? I guess it did have a bath. I wonder where they got indoor plumbing and where did it go? And where did it go? Maybe it was just on a septic thing.
I don't know that.
I'd like to know the history of sewer.
I never heard.
I guess they didn't have all these rules now, but you got to be able to replace it 3 times before you can. This septic thing's really gonna hurt. They're getting so many rules that you almost, if your septic tank goes bad, you almost can't put another one in. I don't know what the people are going to do. I guess they're going to move into the city where there's sewer.
So, are you still building?
Oh yeah. Yeah, building. Busier than ever. I mean, I've got 7 more jobs, and I'm planning on quitting, but they're pretty good sized jobs. So, can't seem to quit.
Well, you're young to quit.
Well, the thing when I take a job, it's 6 months before you can start, a year, 6-8 months to do it, and then another year of warranty. I mean, it's a 3-year commitment, really, to me. So, but I've got jobs. I'm lined out for a year and a half. So, I'm full. One thing, I haven't had to hunt for jobs.
You've got a good crew.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have always had good people come to me. They just come to me. I've had that blessing, I guess. But going back to reading, I wonder why we enjoy reading like that. What's the psychology of that? It's really just sort of fantasizing, or...
I've always thought I loved reading because my parents read to me a lot. And I've always told people, read to your kids. That's what you need to do. We read to ours all the time. And they loved school, and they loved reading. But as a little girl, I walked from where I live now to the old library. Mm-hmm. Across the street. I'm sure I wasn't more than 4 years old. Would cross the street and go to in the back door of the library and go back into the children's section and read.
Well, do you remember my grandmother used to take me there when we lived on Harl? We'd walk down to the sanitary food liner. We'd walk up Inman, and then we'd walk by that Craig Miles building and she'd show us the blood on the side of the wall, with that.
And the Episcopal Church.
Episcopal Church. And then we'd go I'd walk on top of that wall. Mm-hmm. And try to step,
holding your hand.
Hold my hand, yeah. And then we'd go into the library, and they would have a story. Somebody would read a book. Mm-hmm. And I always remember, she always wanted to leave, but I always wanted to stay and listen to the book. Who was it? How long did they do that, or was that very common?
I think they still do it.
Is that right?
They've always done it. I think they still do it.
So they have like a certain...
Yeah.
Now, this was at the old library.
Right.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember sitting there and, the big stairwell handle, it was that big around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did it then and they do it now still.
But still reading, when you say true crimes, what you mean, do you like the psychology of...
Yes.
Why that guy would do that?
That's exactly what I like. That's exactly what I like. Because if you start off, you know what the crime was.
Yeah.
You can read that in the front of the book. But why people get so twisted like that is what fascinates me.
They say if you know the why, if you know the why, you can do anything. So I've always fascinated with the why.
Yes.
Why they...
I am, as far as those books go, for sure.
I watch those all the time. I like that. Like on
documentaries or something?
Yeah, documentaries on crimes and serial killers. I watch all of them.
I like those.
I watch
just
all
because
of them.
I cannot imagine how their mind got that crazy.
I don't know either. And I always like that. Who's that guy that's got the white hair that
I know.
I love his voice. He'll say, and guess what was behind the door? But I think that sort of stuff, it starts out as a slow transition. Have you ever read the book on Making of a Monster?
No.
Oh gosh.
Which one was it about?
It's called Making of a Monster.
Is it about a certain serial killer?
Certain group. You gotta read
More than
it.
one?
Yeah, it's a whole family.
I've read about.
They taunted this guy so bad, and he was innocent, to where he became guilty. It's called Making of a Monster.
I do think bullying can really harm a child and turn them into, they just want to fight back.
it all generally goes back to some form of bullying.
I think you're right.
And it's not just kids. It can be. I mean, I've had school teachers that I can't stand to this day. I think I see their face.
Because they were mean?
Yeah, they're just horrible, horrible. Because you're at a certain age, and depending on the person, you don't know whether it's the 5th grade or 6th grade or the 10th grade. But you're at a very vulnerable, and you don't know which one that is for you or for them.
I can remember teachers that were not. They were fine, nice to me, but I can remember them bullying other children.
I remember,
especially children that were a little bit slow. And even as a child, I thought, that's just not right. That is so mean.
I remember a teacher that used to spank this one guy because she hated him. It was obvious she hated him, and he didn't do nothing wrong. And I don't know why.
Most teachers I remember that spanked, they deserved it.
Well, this one spanked him she just hated him. I always wonder whatever happened to that guy.
I wonder what happened to him.
Because it couldn't be good.
No.
Couldn't be good.
No. And I know that there can be parents that are wonderful parents that still have a child that goes bad.
Sure.
But still, you can see parents that treat their children in such a way that you think that child's going to have problems. That don't. They're picking on them. The child can't ever do right for the parent, can't suit the parent.
It's almost the more strict they are. Have you ever noticed if a parent raises a kid real strict, I've never seen it change. They always end up with one bad apple.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think you can be strict but loving and explain why you've got this rule and why you're going to be punished if you break this rule,
Well, I had the rule. Just let them say, hey, I remember when mine was wanting to get a motorcycle, I said, well, a lot of people get killed on them, but if you want to get one, get one. He decided he didn't want one. Sort of. So
reverse psychology.
Yeah, like when Opie broke the glass out on Andy Griffith. Remember that? And he said, if I help him on these things, I won't be there one day when he needs my help. So he's got to figure out how to solve this himself.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. Who knows the answer? I don't know the answer.
I don't know.
But these true crimes, boy, I tell you what I enjoy more than anything is these stories on people that just disappeared. Just got fed up with it and just disappeared.
No, I haven't read many of those.
Oh, they're good. They just, they're...
And then do they eventually find them?
No, well, some do, some don't. But they just had so much pressure because that's the way to do it. Just leave. Just go to another town. Go to Mexico where it's cheap to live. Or
not many people could do that.
Well, these people had enough. They just couldn't take any more. Yeah. They just disappeared.
Maybe.
I mean, why couldn't you if you wanted to? If you've had enough.
Because you've got children that you're leaving behind, or.
Well, maybe you've considered everything.
Maybe so.
Maybe you've considered everything, and the wife is so hard on you, or the husband's so hard on you, and the kids aren't listening to you. Just leave. It's a free country.
It doesn't happen often, though, do you think?
It happens pretty good bit. If they don't have any life insurance that somebody's claiming, there's nothing. That's why the police can't go looking for you if you're an adult. If you go missing, they don't even go looking for you because you're free to go. It's a free country. You don't have to live in
I think,
Cleveland.
Though, if there's any suspicious
if there's
something
suspicious,
going on,
but if there's nothing suspicious,
they would have to look.
If there's nothing, that's why I never could figure out people that commit suicide. Just leave.
No.
Just go to another town. Just become a new person.
They probably don't have the self-confidence to start all over somewhere new. They wouldn't know anybody. They wouldn't have a job.
All of those are maybe pluses for some people.
Well,
some people just get caught up to, they just don't want, they're just not interested anymore. Just, y'all handle it. I'm out of here.
But I think if some people are that depressed, they're going to be depressed wherever they go. Probably.
Maybe.
Probably.
I remember reading this story about a guy that he was having all kinds of issues, and his father sent him on a cruise. Said, I want you to open this envelope when you get on the cruise. And so he got on the cruise and he opened the envelope. And he said, You're still worried. You're still troubled. And this note is to tell you it's all in your mind. It's not where you're at.
Wow. Smart father.
Smart father.
Huh.
Yeah. We don't have many mysteries in Cleveland like that, do we? That we know about. Except the Valentine's Day murders. Remember them? The Valentine's. I remember that. I don't know if they ever solved it.
I don't
Wasn't there
think so.
somebody that got killed over there off of Central Avenue one time or something?
Don't remember.
I
Seems to me like most things have been solved.
I was thinking the one over there at Central Avenue, they suspected maybe that railroad, that guy that was getting off the railroad and killing people. Remember that years ago?
No, I don't remember that.
I don't remember.
But then there was the woman that disappeared driving up Highway 64 past the lake. And didn't they just find her body in the last couple of years?
That's right, I think so.
But
yeah.
for all those years, they didn't
all
know what
those
happened
years.
to her. But I remember as a child watching divers, and this goes way, way back, at the dam, people would run cars off on purpose. Mm. They would steal them, strip them, and run them off. Mm-hmm. And then boats would come with divers. And this was long enough ago that they had the big Jacques Cousteau helmet on and hoses. And they would go down. And we'd sit up there and watch them do it, sit on the side of the road and watch them. And they would take a hook. And when they found a car, they'd hook it on the car and the winch or whatever would pull the car up. Mm-hmm. But they had stolen the car and stripped it to sell the parts. That happened often. And they didn't always know whether there was someone in the car. But usually there wasn't.
Yeah.
Usually it was a stolen car.
You know, one thing about this show that I do is talk to people that are from Cleveland generally. Would you love to have Rott here? You know, I had an actor come and played Rott. I had him read the book, and he came in as Rott. Uh-huh. And I had Rott on the discussion.
Interesting.
It's not episode number 80, and it was
Was it an actor from Cleveland?
Yeah, it was Ross Tarver's son, and he's sort of a Civil War actor.
Is his name Ross Man?
His name's I
Maybe.
guess no. I
Is
don't
Ross
know.
the son that's...
I think it's Will.
Will.
I believe. But so he came in and acted and played Rott. And that's why I got that cup right there. I bought that cup. It was made during the time, and I had him drinking coffee out of it. But he answered the questions as Rott would ask them.
Yeah.
As Rott would ask.
So he had to do his homework.
Yeah, he read that book, and I asked him about the tunnels underneath. You know, there's supposed to be a tunnel from the depot to his house. Yeah.
Under.
And according to the book, they speculated that Rott was part of the Underground Railroad that sent the slaves up north.
But he wasn't, was he?
I don't know. He was a Union sympathizer, big time.
Well, I thought the Underground Railroad was really a railroad that was underground, and of course it wasn't.
No. And some people think that Rott took the people under and got on the railroad, and they went up north because he
might have.
Because he might have, and I asked.
And he probably would have been a Union sympathizer.
Well, he was. He had to run up. He had to go up there because they were going to hang him here for making the cannonballs, and
really?
he was making cannonballs and selling them to the Union.
At the copper company?
Yeah, and he was selling them to the Union, and so
Cleveland was kind of...
Cleveland was good. They
were Union sympathizers and Confederates.
But they were going to hang him because he was selling them cannon. You know, he was all about money, Rod. Mm-hmm. And so I asked him about that, and he said he'd rather not discuss it. The actor, which is what Rod would have said.
Really?
Yeah. You got to watch it. It's really good. He played the part. He had the old clothes.
Number 80?
Number 80.
And so how old is this boy?
He's probably 35 or something.
Really?
Yeah, he played. So it's on there as Captain.
I can't believe
it's on,
Ross Tarver has a child that
Yeah,
old.
it's on the episode as Captain Rod.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'd like to get a somebody to do somebody else, like a Mr. Calloway or something. Now the Callaways, there's some Callaways. There's a city commissioner councilman up at Charleston, Faye Calloway. Is she related to these Callaways?
I don't think so, but if she is, it's pretty distant.
Yeah.
The Callaway that I know best is Mike,
Yeah.
who was an attorney.
Types with one finger.
Does he? I
Yeah.
don't know. He's not well, but he's with us still. He's my husband's age, which would be 85.
Is he coherent?
Oh yeah, sharp as he can be.
Mike Calloway. I always liked him.
He might be one you could talk to.
Oh, I'd like to
who
talk
would
to him.
remember a lot.
He would.
But there were a bunch of, and Thomas Calloway, I think, was his grandfather.
Now, Ben Moore was a Calloway. His mother was a Calloway, right?
Mm-hmm. Mary.
Boy, all the old timers are dying out now, aren't they? There's who you got left?
Me.
The Moores and the Taylors and the Rhymers. You don't hear much of them anymore.
No, there are not
do you?
any left except Leroy, I think. Leroy lives in Cleveland, and his father was Leroy. But of all that generation, I think, I know he's the last one that lives in Cleveland.
That's about. There'll be new ones. There'll be new, I
Rhymers.
guess,
Well,
or there'll be new people.
yeah.
They won't be Burris's.
You don't have a son?
Yeah, well, I mean, we won't be rich like that, so, you know. But, you know, I think back then they had a way of being able to compile wealth more than we do now. It's more able to spread wealth out, which is probably better, you know, overall. Because when some of these people can get so rich, like Rod, he was so rich. He was the richest man, in the state of Tennessee at one time?
Really?
Oh, yeah, he was.
Well, he had a monopoly, didn't he?
He did everything.
And was he from Germany?
He was from Germany. Yeah, he's somebody they should really.
Did he have sons? He doesn't have.
Yeah, he's got one that lives in. His son or grandson lives in Chattanooga, I believe.
Really?
Somebody told me, according to what I
And you probably know more about his grandfather than that boy does.
probably, because I read the book.
Yeah.
He was so popular that between 1850 and 1870, they didn't refer that in dates. They referred to it as Rot's time. They say it was before Rot's time and after Rot's time.
Oh my goodness.
That's how big he was. He started First National Bank, and I think he started the flour mill, and
Well, they were entrepreneurs.
yeah, he brought the railroad here. He's the one that got the stop here, because it wasn't going to stop here.
Huh.
Yeah, he's the one that
So
got the.
that's another thing about those men in that period. They didn't just sit on what they had. They thought of something else.
They thought it was their obligation.
Yeah.
He had 2,000 acres there at the Rot House. That's how many acres he had.
Goodness.
2,000 acres.
Good grief.
I mean, it went all the way. He's the one that brought 64 Highway here. It was going to go to Blairsville. And he brought it, he got it to come here and got the railroad to come here.
But
We
64
wouldn't even-
was already there.
No, he's the one that he was riding. That's how he got the copper from there to Cleveland.
really?
They said that he had, according to the book, he had 1,200 teams of horses.
Good
And a
grief.
team is 12 horses. They would carry that, 12 horses would pull this copper out of there all day long. And he owned all the stores that they bought from. He had a halfway house between here and there. If you go down 64 Highway, it's on the left. You can see where it used to be a a
How far
place.
down?
It's about midway, because that's
To the
where
lake?
it's above the lake.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's where they would stop and stay the night before they'd come down.
Do you know an interesting fact is that many people say there are no fish in Parksville Lake because of the copper company. That lake is full of fish, and it has
Yeah.
been my whole life. Since the 1940s, I can tell you for sure there's been fish, and it's like a well-kept secret, and they're big bass. And
See, Rott was doing all that before the dams were there.
oh, I know, yeah,
He was hiring Indians.
huh?
It was something, man. It was something. You can't hardly get that book, but I've got a signed copy. Yeah, by the guy that wrote the book.
Well, can the publisher of it not? They're not putting out anymore.
I don't know.
Making anymore.
I
Does
don't
the
know.
library have it?
I don't think they do. When we stop, I'll show you the book.
What's the name of it?
In Rott's Time.
Oh,
It's a hard read too.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes into the. See, they hired him as the sort of the accountant, and he took over the whole operation. He was a metallurgist / accountant that came here, and he ended up owning all of it. He had the first hardware store here, first furniture store. And if you read those things, you know what like Abel Hardware. He's the guy that started it before. He went in business with, it was Rott and Abel, something like that.
huh?
He was wild, man. He had 2,000. When the union came down, they stayed at his place. They took over. That's when he had to leave.
I didn't think they ever came to Cleveland. I
Oh,
thought
they stayed on his place, and he sued the government afterwards and got a settlement.
because I have heard that that the Union soldiers did not come to Cleveland.
Well, they stayed right on Rott's property at
Really?
2,000 acres.
Really?
Yeah, and he's
And I know they did go to Charleston
they went to Charleston.
for sure.
See, Rott
And,
was
and they were
before
in
the.
Chattanooga because of the Battle of Missionary Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
But I always heard that the story was, well, for instance, the old courthouse,
Mm-hmm.
they took everything out of it and put it in a shed because they thought the Yankees were coming and they were going to burn the old courthouse. So the Yankees this is a story I heard. The Yankees didn't come. The warehouse where they stored all those,
It burned.
it burned. So if they'd left it where it was, it'd have
Mm-hmm.
been fine. But they thought the Yankees were coming.
Well, I talked to somebody else that knows a lot of that history is Joe Bryan from Calhoun. Mm-hmm. His family's lived there forever, and he's the city manager of Calhoun, and he talks about when the Union Army came through there,
Yeah.
through the road. He said it took like 9 hours for them to march through. It was so long.
Oh, my.
Because back then they could just walk through the creek, you know. Mm-hmm. It was like 9 hours. It's something incredible. Like, it was bizarre.
Well, a lot of people don't know what you said, that the Union, some of the Union soldiers were here, because that story is what a lot of people think, you know, that they thought they were coming and took all the stuff out of the courthouse, and the Yankees never came. That's what I've always heard. So a lot of people, maybe just some offshoot of the ones that went to Charleston came out here.
Well, even I had the scoutmaster for the Broad Street Methodist. I had her here, and she said that even the scout troop, Troop 10, I think, they went on top of one of the buildings, and they were lookout for when they came.
For when the Yankees
For
came?
when the Yankees came, and they used to raise the Union flag, or they'd raise the different flags depending on who was coming, because they had to, or they're going to kill them all, right? Boy, it was a bad time in our history, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I really thought Cleveland got bypassed, but that's interesting that they didn't.
You know, Ringo, Georgia just threw their hands up when they came in.
And said what?
They just said, take
Take
us
what you
over.
want?
Yeah. They got a sign up there at the courthouse in Ringo that basically says, we gave up. I would put that sign up there for nothing.
That is
And
wild.
when you drive through there and you get a speeding ticket, you know why.
Talking about books, there's one you'd like about a lawyer, I think from Ringgold, and I can't remember the name of it, but he, can't remember enough about it to tell you. I'll have to look it up and tell you, but he's still practicing law in and around Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
And
And he was from Ringgold?
yes, and he's got an interesting name, and it's a true story of a man that he defended in Ringgold that they thought killed his wife.
Oh, I know the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is
and
his
they
name?
never did figure out if he did or not. I saw that
No,
on Dateline.
they did. They did. They did.
Well, there's still some questions, I
I
think.
don't think so. He got acquitted.
You know, I think I
doubt
drove up there and went by the house.
Oh, did
It
you?
was like because that was one of the few that was one of the few crime shows that were. I don't think they ever determined if he did it.
Oh, I thought they did. He loved her. She had written a lot of stuff. She was kind of touched, and she wrote on the walls, and she wrote how much she loved him and all that, and he was good to her. But he was on the spectrum, and that's why people thought he did it, because he was strange. He had a TV repair shop.
TV repair,
coming
yeah,
back
yeah,
to me
TV,
now.
yeah.
But what was his name? I'm trying to think of the lawyer's name. The lawyer came to my book club here in Cleveland and talked to us, and he was very interesting.
I
But
think the
I was
guy's
just thinking-
name started with an R or something, like a Rondo or Randolph or something. Remember Bob Brandy from Ringo?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
They claimed he killed his wife.
Really?
Yeah. What, Ingrid? Was it
I
Ingrid?
believe it was. I think
Yeah.
she was German.
She was German. They never did solve that one.
Now you're making me think of Mole that was on TV. What was his name? Jay Basil? Yes, there was a Jay Basil Mole, and it was like a religious show. And he would say, "Ain't that right, Miss Mole?" And she'd say, "That's right, Jay Basil." And so my husband used to say something, and he'd turn to me and say, "Ain't that right, Miss Mole?" I'd say, "That's right, Jay Basil." But that was back in the Bob Brandy days.
You miss your husband.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We were
Is
here
it horrible?
55 years.
Is it horrible?
No, because I have such wonderful memories. I really do have wonderful memories. We were married 55 years. We went together for about, off and on, for about 7 years before. And we did fight then. But after we got married, we didn't really fight.
Me and my wife didn't start fighting until we got married.
Oh, really?
So 57 years?
55.
55 years.
And he's been gone 5. But yes, it's very sad, and I do think of him all the time, but I do have great memories and 3 great boys.
Do you ever like think, oh, I'm going to ask him, and think, oh, he's dead, or is that, I mean, in the house?
No.
Because you're still in the same house.
No, but I do think of things that I wish I could tell him, you know. But I used to do that too when my mother died. I used to think, oh, I've got to tell Mother this.
I believe they can hear us.
I don't know. I hope so.
I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, it's not horrible at all, and I don't mind living alone. I do have my son next door now, my youngest, in the house that was my grandparents built for my parents, and then I started out there, and then I rented it for years and years and years. But my son's over there now.
What's your earliest remembrance of Deer Park, going back that long?
Oh gosh, that merry-go-round that would just about kill you if you.
And the big swing sets. See, that's what
And that slide that was so hot,
it was so hot.
it's a miracle we didn't get some kind of burns.
And they had.
But that merry-go-round, those boys would get it going so fast that you didn't dare jump off. You couldn't.
You had the merry-go-round, the seesaw, the slide, and those massive swings. I mean, they were big, weren't they?
Yeah,
and that's all
and
it
when
was.
they were redoing that park, I hated it.
I hate it.
I hated that they redid it, but it was dangerous. Those things were dangerous.
Well,
there were things.
They had the monkey bars. Remember that?
Oh, the monkey bars. It's a miracle we weren't killed. Hanging by our
I fell
knees.
off of them too. But
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I just miss that old. I used to go down there with my grandmother, and remember when the hippies would get behind the trees? Remember that era?
I
When
was
while the
probably, I
hippies
was probably
were,
in school.
You was probably in the
college. No, I wasn't a hippie, but I was probably in school. But we walked down there. We rode our bikes down there. You know,
We
as
walked.
little kids rode our bikes down there.
This guy, I used to be real good friends with him when we went there, and he had a hole here, like he had a trachea or something, but it was a scar.
Good friends with who?
That boy, and I don't know, I'd seen him there every summer, and I don't know who that was. I don't know who he was in Cleveland, but we had the best time together, and I don't know.
Could he talk?
Yeah,
He just had a
I just
scar.
remember he had a scar there like he had a trachea.
I don't know.
And I don't
You're
remember.
so much younger than I
I don't
am.
remember who he was, or I just remember he was there. We'd wade in the creek, you know.
You're younger than my kids. How old are you?
I'm 50. I'm in my 50s.
Well, so are
Yeah,
my three.
yeah,
So are my three
yeah.
boys. My
But-
youngest is 51.
But that's all I remember about Deer Park. I don't remember when they made it Deer Park. Do you?
No. But I know that the reason they called it Deer Park because there really were deer.
But certainly somebody had. I bet Alan Jones knows that story
He probably does.
about why they made it Deer Park. Who said, okay, this is going to stay Deer Park. Well, Cleveland's a great place to live, and you know, if you don't know the history, you're missing out. And
Is that what you talk to most people about that come and talk to you?
just whatever comes up. I don't even know how we got on it.
Yeah.
I just talk about whatever.
I could not figure why you asked me unless it was because of my advanced age.
Oh, about Deer Park?
No, about being here. Why you asked me to come.
Well, I just have people I enjoy talking to, and it doesn't have to be anything.
Yeah.
I had my good friend Dewey Chastain here a couple weeks ago. I just like talking to Dewey.
Uh-huh.
But they'll get 20,000 views.
That's amazing.
Yeah, people just like the conversation, I guess.
So it's 2 weeks from today that this one will come up?
Yeah, and
then can they just go,
YouTube or Facebook, either one.
And just go to Dee
Yeah,
Burris?
Casey Stokes came out today.
just go
He's
to
had
Dee
nearly-
Burris, the conversation?
Yeah, the discussion.
The discussion.
Yeah, and we'll have, you know, I've had a lot of the city commissioners and county commissioners and judges and lawyers, and bankers are funny. They're odd. I don't know. It's like,
This is going out, you know.
oh, I know it. But I've had one here, but the others, of course, I don't really use it. I don't know. I just, I don't know. Doctors had C.A. Cow's boy, had C.A. Cow here, you know. C.A. Cow Chip.
You said you had Madison Torrance,
Yep, Madison with
Karis.
Karis, yep.
Uh-huh. That's a wonderful program.
Boy, it is. It really is. And had Harry and Demetrius from Bradley Cleveland Services. And in 2 weeks, I got the Polk County News coming.
Editor person?
Yeah, Jeff. I can't think of his last name. I know it, Duff. Anyway, yeah, it's just whoever. It makes no difference. Makes no difference.
Well, I said to one of my kids that said, how come he asked you to do it? And I said, I guess because I'm old.
I had you because you're young.
Yes.
Why don't you get off the planning commission? Or where
I should. And every time the mayor asks me, you know, it's a 3-year term, I always think, well, I will. And then I think, well, I don't know. It's just one night a month, and I don't have that much homework. I try to go out and look at the property. If I feel like I don't know for sure what I'm talking about, I'll drive out and look at the property we're going to talk about. But, you know, it doesn't take that much time, and I do.
Well,
I do
it's
enjoy
something.
it.
You have to have a service, and you're familiar, and might as well have
And
somebody.
we didn't talk about it, but I'm the chairperson of the historic commission.
Of that
which-
overlay section, yeah.
Yes, which I think has done a lot of
Yeah.
good. Really done a lot of
Well,
good.
it's kept a lot of junk out of that area, because if you
has.
don't have something, their junk will come in.
Yes, it will.
It will come in.
And I do think the property value's gone up, which is keeping out, not that renters are bad, but that some of the cheaper rental units have been fixed up and are sold as homes. Because if they're cheap rental units, they get renters that don't do what they're supposed to do. They've got too many people in there. They say they don't, but they do.
Anytime you have renters, they're not going to keep it up like it's theirs, and that's a fact.
Usually you don't. But that's helped. The historic overlay has helped cause some people that were the renters, not the renters, but the owners, to just wipe their hands of having renters and say, let's just fix it up and sell it. I don't want to rent. I don't want the hassle of renting anymore.
The biggest thing we can do, Cleveland, to help everybody, it's very simple. It's to put sewer where there's not sewer, especially in East Cleveland. And because without sewer, you don't have anything.
See, I would assume that we had sewer in all of the city limits.
Well, yeah, but they need to not make sewer just for the city. They need to go. If you ever drive out South Cleveland, it's a third world country.
Well, yet they're building out that way now.
Well,
they're really going
it's
that
gonna.
way.
It's if you go out towards High Street, 12th Street, over in there. Man, it's rough. I mean, those people are living. They need sewer. They can't fix anything up.
So they're not in the city limits? Oh.
Sewer needs to be available.
I guess I hadn't been that
Sewer
far.
needs to be available to people. Sewer does not need to depend on whether you're in the city,
Right.
in my opinion. Sewers, if they want it to be separate, let it be separate. If it's supposed to be separate, which it's supposed to be, sewer, they use that as a tool to annex you, because why else would you want to be annexed? So if you're not,
that's true.
It's really.
Well, there are other reasons. You get police protection and fire protection and...
There are other reasons, but the only reason you'll want in there is for sewer. Right. So that's the hook. But I don't have an answer to that. But I believe one day.
Sounds like you do.
I believe one day they'll have. I think one day they will not depend on a pipe going from my house to Cleveland Utilities and to the water treatment plant. I believe it'll be just as cheap to just have it go in a tank and have somebody come by and pump your tank.
Well, that sounds like a septic tank.
Well, but pump
Great
it, just
big
not
septic-
even just
great
a
big
big,
septic
just a big container with
Great big
like
septic.
a gas tank under the ground or something.
So a huge septic.
Yeah, because you think about all the stuff that we have to pipe all the way to, let trucks deliver it.
Oh.
Rather than just,
Oh,
I mean, the
I'm
pipes.
just thinking if one of those trucks has
It's
a wreck.
it's a way, in my opinion, and this will be unpopular, but it's just a way to control the masses by saying you got to have sewer. If you don't have sewer, if you go to have a septic tank, you have to have so many feet of fill lines. And now they're making you have double what you need in case you have to duplicate it. And you just don't, you can't do that on a 100 by 200 lot because the soils don't, it's just but I give them, it don't perk.
Sounds like you've got a job outside the city limits that's giving you a headache.
No, I've learned not to get there. I don't have.
You don't build outside the city?
Yeah, I do, but I foresee it. I get soil mapped and get all that. I'm just saying, in order to get people to utilize more property out in the county, we're going to have to solve the sewer problem. Otherwise, they're all going to be going into the city, and it's going to get too crowded, and everybody's going to want out. Whatever everybody's.
So, of all the powers that be that you know,
Mm-hmm.
can't you push them on this?
No,
Why can't
everybody's
you-
because everybody's got their ulterior motives.
Yeah, but can't you talk to people in the county and say, like commissioners, and say...
They tried that. Dennis Epperson tried that real
really?
hard.
Really?
In fact, he's coming on the 20th, the 3rd, I think. I'm gonna ask him about that. Ask him how far he got on that. But I don't
Sounds like
know.
politics.
It's a problem. It's a problem. We're going to have to start leaning towards more social stuff, I believe, in order to make it.
Social stuff?
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, sewer's social. It's a social thing. You pay a minimum, just like you do, for taxes for fire protection. So I don't know, but they regulate what you can do on your property, but then you can't afford to run sewer, so they've got the control. You have no control.
I'm going to go to sleep tonight thinking about you talking about trucks running up and down the highway with sewage in them. And what you going to do when one of them wrecks?
Well, they'll have a bladder inside them. They'll be treated.
That could be ruptured.
They'll treat it with a chemical prior to pumping it out that will kill the bacteria. They'll have their own little systems to where it's sort of halfway.
Well, you're an entrepreneur. You need to develop
That's
it.
what'll happen. You'll pump it. You'll go into this tank, and it'll do some kind of basic filtration or something or treatment, and then the truck will come and pick it up, and they'll take it out to the tank, and they won't worry about pumping sewer up and down and a line coming loose. But the last thing,
and the truck wrecks, and all that spills on the highway.
Yep. Meryl, it's been great.
It's been nice. Thank you.
I'm gonna go home and watch the Tour de France.
I know what you're really going to do.